Gavin Southwell has operated at a level most executives spend their careers chasing. He led one of the fastest-growing public companies in the United States, navigated complex capital markets, and helped scale businesses that defined the early wave of insurtech. By traditional measures, the story could end there. It does not. What defines Southwell's trajectory today is not just the scale of what he built, but the clarity of why he continues to build. His leadership has shifted from financial performance alone to something sharper and more enduring, using technology, data, and disciplined execution to solve real-world problems that affect people at their most vulnerable. That evolution did not happen in a boardroom. It came from loss. Southwell's early and mid-career reads like a case study in high-performance execution. As CEO and president of a company recognized as the fastest-growing public business from 2017 to 2019, he operated at the intersection of technology, insurance, and capital markets. This was not incremental growth. It was acceleration at scale. He oversaw complex financial strategies, including a successful take-private transaction at a premium to market value, the structuring of large debt facilities, and the navigation of a SPAC process. These are not passive milestones. They require conviction, timing, and the ability to make high-stakes decisions with incomplete information. His experience spans more than 17 years in technology, with direct involvement in some of the largest insurtech exits in the market. His work touched major sectors including retail, financial services, and transportation, giving him a broad operating lens that few executives develop so early. Colleagues describe a leader who values clarity over consensus and action over theory. Southwell built organizations designed to move quickly, measure precisely, and adjust without hesitation. But speed alone was never the point. At a certain level of success, most executives begin to optimize. They refine strategy, expand influence, and compound financial outcomes. Southwell did something different. A personal loss forced a re-evaluation not just of priorities, but of purpose itself. The details are less important than the shift it triggered. What had once been a career defined by scale became one defined by consequence. The question changed from, how fast can we grow, to, what impact does this actually have? That shift now informs every decision he makes. It is visible in the types of companies he supports, the problems he chooses to engage with, and the standards he applies to leadership. Today, Southwell operates as an advisor and investor in technology-driven growth businesses. But the focus is narrower and more deliberate than before. He is particularly drawn to companies addressing inefficiencies in systems that affect everyday lives, especially in insurance and essential services. These are industries where failure is not abstract. It is personal. A delayed claim, a denied policy, or a broken process can have real human consequences. Southwell understands that firsthand. His approach centers on using data and AI not as buzzwords, but as tools to remove friction, increase transparency, and improve outcomes for people who often have the least margin for error. This is where his experience becomes differentiating. He knows how to scale systems. He knows how to structure capital. And he knows how to build organizations that can execute under pressure. Now, he applies those capabilities to problems that demand both precision and empathy. Southwell's leadership style is not built on slogans. It is built on operating principles that have been tested in high-stakes environments. The first is accountability. In fast-growing companies, it is easy for responsibility to diffuse. Southwell rejects that. He believes leadership requires owning outcomes fully, especially when things go wrong. There is no substitute for clarity in who is responsible and what needs to happen next. The second is resilience. Growth at scale is not linear. Markets shift, deals fall apart, and external pressures mount. Southwell has operated through all of it, including periods of scrutiny and complexity that would stall less experienced leaders. His view is simple: resilience is not about endurance alone. It is about maintaining decision quality under stress. The third is integrity grounded in data. Southwell places a premium on truth, even when it is inconvenient. In his view, data is only valuable if it is used honestly. Organizations fail when they manipulate metrics to fit narratives instead of confronting reality. This belief extends beyond internal operations. It shapes how he evaluates opportunities, partners, and markets. Southwell's career has not been without complexity. Like many executives operating at scale, he has navigated regulatory environments, legal frameworks, and the scrutiny that comes with leading high-growth public companies. What stands out is how he contextualizes those experiences. He does not frame them as setbacks. He treats them as part of the operating environment. Decisions at scale carry consequences, and leadership requires the ability to move forward without losing focus or credibility. That perspective reinforces one of his core beliefs. Leadership is tested not when everything is working, but when it is not. For Southwell, the most meaningful outcomes are no longer tied to valuation alone. They are tied to impact. One example comes from his work in insurance-related technology, where improvements in data usage and process design have helped expand access to essential services. For individuals and families, that can mean the difference between stability and crisis. These are not abstract improvements. They show up in faster approvals, clearer communication, and more reliable systems. Inside organizations, his leadership has also shaped people. Employees who have worked under Southwell often describe an environment that demands performance but also develops capability. He expects high standards, but he also invests in building teams that can operate independently and make informed decisions. That combination creates organizations that do not rely on a single leader to function. The intersection of technology, insurance, and AI is entering a new phase. The early wave focused on disruption and growth. The next phase will be defined by effectiveness and trust. Southwell's experience positions him directly in that transition. He understands both sides of the equation. He has driven aggressive growth, and he has seen the consequences of systems that fail under pressure. That dual perspective allows him to evaluate opportunities with a level of nuance that is increasingly rare. His focus on data integrity is particularly relevant as AI becomes more embedded in decision-making processes. The risk is not just technical failure. It is systemic bias, poor inputs, and misaligned incentives. Southwell's approach is grounded in a simple principle: better decisions require better data and the discipline to use it correctly. Southwell is not interested in slowing down. If anything, his current work reflects a renewed intensity, but with sharper intent. He continues to advise and invest in businesses that have the potential to scale, but he is selective about where he applies his time. The common thread is purpose. He looks for founders and teams who are not just chasing market opportunities, but who are committed to solving meaningful problems. He values execution, but he also values alignment in why the work matters. That combination is what drives sustainable impact. There is a phrase that surfaces repeatedly in conversations about Southwell's leadership: make it count today. It reflects a mindset shaped by both success and loss. The idea is not about urgency for its own sake. It is about intentionality. Decisions matter. Time matters. The work matters. For Southwell, that translates into a leadership style that is direct, focused, and grounded in reality. He does not overcomplicate strategy. He does not chase noise. He prioritizes what moves the needle and what creates real value. That clarity is what allows him to continue building, not just businesses, but systems that work better for the people who depend on them. In an industry often driven by hype and short-term gains, Gavin Southwell represents a different model. One built on experience, tested under pressure, and guided by a clear understanding of what actually matters.